For more, we get you out to the site where Tony Romo is standing by with more. Tony, it's great to see you as always, and this matchup is one that we always love to see as well. Last week it was the Steelers doing it in different ways. This week with different personnel. How'd they supplement that no Pickens today?
Well, I thought that was the biggest challenge because it allowed Cleveland to kind of tee off, send extra rushers, just guard them man-to-man, and dare them to beat them downfield, and they really didn't take advantage of that in the first half. The second half, though, they created a couple of the big plays down the field, and that was really the difference. And obviously some of the little mistakes Cleveland made, missed field goals, you know, some of the penalties, just silly things, fumble obviously at the end. So that's what the, you know, in this division, what it comes down to.
It was a week-to-week league, as we know, and last week we saw a pair of quarterbacks go for 400 plus, only the third time in history that they then meet the following week. And then first half here, Tony, the forward pass eluding both of them. Specific to Russell Wilson, what did you see in his performance today?
Well, I thought he was playing it a little bit too safe early in the game, almost like you're like, we'll win if I just don't turn the ball over. I thought he kind of was just trying to make sure and not give him the ball. But then eventually he opened up, started to understand what Cleveland was doing, and then I thought the game plan really in the second half changed, and you just saw them systematically kind of just beat the Browns, you know, in each little area, just a little edge here, a little edge there, and overall the Steelers are a better football team.
Well, straight ahead we're going to find out what they truly are as playoff football starts now, or at least playoff caliber football. Eagles, Ravens, Chiefs, Bengals out in front of them. I got Bryant McFadden breathing over my shoulder here right now. Why should he feel good about this stretch run for the Steelers, Tony?
Well, I think they're a complete football team. I think they might be the best, top 2 or 3 in the league for sure in all 3 phases, offense, defense, special teams. They don't really have a weakness. If they stay healthy, Pickens comes back, you're going to be fine. The biggest thing is going to be a situational play at the end. Does Russell Wilson make the play, or does the other team's quarterback? And I think this team's going to be in every single football game, but you know, if it's close, T.J. Watt has a way of winning football games as well. So I trust the Steelers to come out of this with a winning record.
Some T.J. Watt on one side, and on the other side of the ball, a championship head coach, a championship quarterback. When you're looking for a team to knock off the big red machine, maybe we're looking to Pittsburgh. Tony Romo, thank you as always.
Thanks, guys.
We always appreciate Tony's time here on HQ, and you know what time it all starts. Noon Eastern, each and every Sunday. JB and the gang, it's the NFL Today. Starting your Sunday the only way. Join our crew on CBS and streaming on Paramount+. All aboard the Rust Bus as the Steelers keep on rolling. 10-3 in a season when plenty said they'd be at the bottom of the division. Well, Russell Wilson, even in the absence of his star receiver in George Pickens, distributing to anyone who would have it. Pat Fryermuth, Mike Williams, Jalen Warren in the pass game and in the rush. Both Najee and Warren coming up big as well. You know, we've sat there many times before and watched Pittsburgh Steelers football, B-Mac, and as I was sitting there you watch the first half, you seemed uneasy. You seemed like you had some questions about both the offensive and the defensive side of the ball. But adjustments are adjustments. What'd you see in terms of change in the second half?
Well, the reason why I was uneasy because it felt like the Steelers were playing with their food. And we saw that happen. The same thing happened the first meeting in Cleveland in the snow game. The first half, remember, ideal conditions compared to what happened in the second half. They played around with their food, allowed Jameis Winston and the Cleveland Browns to gain confidence, and of course they won that ball game. Kind of saw the same effort to start the game, but then to Joe's point, the adjustments happened, the execution became a thing, and they just kind of took off.
Yeah.
So you talk about beating a team like the Cleveland Browns. Yes, their record says they're a bad team, but they give you a fighting chance if you're not careful to beat them by double digits, not to mention not having your best wide receiver in George Pickens, still being able to score 27 points against that defense. This was a very, very inspired game. It's inspired win for the Pittsburgh Steelers. But now, when you look at what they have moving forward, playing complementary football is something they can build upon. The defense was outstanding today. Only when you look at red zone efficiency, Cleveland was bad in the red zone, Pittsburgh was good. Third down efficiency, Cleveland was bad on third downs, Pittsburgh was good. I'm loving what I'm seeing right now, especially being able to take care of your business as a divisional foe by double digits.
And a lot of that production in terms of the box score did come in garbage time for that Cleveland offense as well. Held in check throughout this one. Emory, I'm going to come back to you here on the run game because I can't help but be taken by this creativity Arthur Smith is showing, the way that he's distributing carries between Warren, Najee Harris. You sprinkle in a little bit of of Russ, a little bit of Cordell Patterson. What are you seeing in that run game that's making it so effective for the Steelers on a day when they really needed it without Pickens?
What I love most about what I'm seeing from Najee Harris, I think Najee Harris can play until he's like 40 because he has the one trait that you need that doesn't get old. Eyes. His vision is there, and he can see the backside cut. He has the footwork to get to the backside cut. And he may not be the most explosive or the fastest guy, but because he's able to see it and subsequently get there, it makes the offense work. And then when you bring in a Jalen Warren, boom, there's an explosive firecracker that comes to help complement Najee Harris. And so now you just start to think like, okay, if they're seeing it well, they're hitting the holes well, they're doing a great job, the run game is going to be there. And what I saw defensively for Pittsburgh that we didn't see in the first matchup, they didn't give up big plays in the passing game. We know the Browns did that in the first meeting and also coming off what we saw versus Denver, and they were able to get them off the field. And that's the biggest thing. And when you have the run game working like that, you shrink the ball game. They did a great job on offense.
Mac, we just heard Tony talk about this being the most prepared team or one of the most soundly prepared teams in the NFL. You look at that stretch run and you feel what about this closing time? Is it the perfect opportunity to announce yourself as one of the teams to beat in the AFC?
No question. It's an opportunity to send messages throughout the entire end of NFL. It's an opportunity to build more confidence on what you already have in place. And I feel like regardless, when you're trying to get to January football, there's no easy way out. You're going to have to win ball games. You're going to have to do so in different styles and different fashions, and you're going to play against competitive teams. To Tony's point in terms of being a complete team, Pittsburgh offensive line-wise, Emory, you talked about the job that Najee did. What about the job the offensive line did in run pro? What about the job the offensive line did in protecting Russell Wilson? Only allowed 1 sack. Myles Garrett was the guy who got that sack, but remember how dominant he was the first meeting. He had 3 sacks in the first half. So this offense came to this matchup saying, you know what, we're going to protect our quarterback and we're going to have running windows open for our runners. Defensively, with Alex Highsmith Jr., T.J. Watt, and the third option, Nick Herbig, and then the fourth option, Preston Smith, name me a better foursome in terms of guys that can put pressure on opposing quarterbacks than what the Pittsburgh Steelers have. And the last caveat in terms of being a total complete team, special teams. When you talk about playoff football and most playoff games, guys, you know this. They're very, very close games.
Coach Danny, is that?
Coach Danny, Bubblegum Danny, right? Bubblegum Danny. In playoff football, they're usually close-scoring games. Yeah. Name me another kicker you would rather have than Boz, right? So those are things that will show up will be a major factor in playoff football, and we saw all 3 phases show up big time today.
And what was fascinating about it is the fact that you have a team in Pittsburgh. Usually with Baltimore and Pittsburgh, you kind of have the same thought of the team coming in, but Pittsburgh is actually playing like it. They're physical, they're aggressive, they're running the football. They don't beat themselves. You know when you play a Steelers team, you're going to have to bring your physicality with you, and a lot of teams are not ready for that physical discussion at the point of attack, also within the run game. And I love the fact that now we're starting to see them get the tight ends involved. So now you get the tight ends involved in the passing game. They have great depth there. The receiving core is still work in progress, but we saw something from Mike Williams today. The run game is a run game. Russ is starting to find guys across the field. So to me, they're playing their best football as they're closing out the season, which bodes well for them going into the postseason.
This was what I like to call a noun matchup. People, places, and things. And when you put these people in that place, only one thing happens when you look at Pittsburgh and Cleveland in Pittsburgh. How about this? 21 in a row. Unbelievable. When they play in that place, this is what happens. Can you tell me a little bit of HQ trivia here? Last quarterback Browns to win in Pittsburgh. Name.
Kelly Holcomb.
Tim Couch.
Wow.
It's been a minute.
Oh, they lost their playoff game. That's right.
I like that you both said it at the same time. We're all on the same page, and we got more coming here on HQ.
Wrong quarterback, right situation.
Right team, right.